Inheriting climate policy from the Trump administration is like taking over the lease of a fraternity house. There's a lot of mess that needs to be cleaned up, and that is why the Biden administration will waste no time on day one. In fact, they just promised on the first day of his presidency to re-enter the United States back into the Paris Climate Accord via executive order. And that moment couldn't happen any sooner. In fact, with the latest data that has just been dropped, 2020, the tumultuous year that was, has now tied 2016 as the warmest year on record across the entire planet. In fact, 7 of the warmest years have occurred since 2014, a very concerning trajectory forward that we are on. And you don't need to be a scientist to recognize the pattern that is taking shape here. But if you need more examples, take, for instance, the contiguous United States. They have just marked their 5th warmest year on average across the lower 48. This comes on the heels of record-setting CO2 levels within the atmosphere, over 410 parts per million. Remember, these are heat-trapping greenhouse gases within our atmosphere, sending our climate into a literal state of flux. Take the U.S., for example. The above-average precipitation across the upper Mississippi River Valley through the Great Lakes to the southeast spurred flooding, and we can't forget what's happening over the western U.S. Drought conditions continue. In fact, by the end of 2020, over 50% of the U.S. was under drought conditions, and you can see where that's centered over the western parts of the country, particularly the Great Basin and the Southwest. And we had a record-breaking wildfire season because of this drought and the excessive heat. Over 10.2 million acres were scorched by wildfires. And these disasters have a hefty price tag as well. We monitor them. $22 billion plus disasters were recorded in 2020. That shatters a previous record of 16 set back in 2011 and 2017. You total it all up, it cost $95 billion US. That is just incredible. Who can forget the record-setting Atlantic hurricane season as well, with 12 storm landfalls within the lower 48, and also the record-breaking 30 named storms throughout the Atlantic hurricane season. I'll leave you with this. NOAA has tracked billion-dollar disasters since 1980. All 50 states have had at least one billion-dollar disaster, and the total cost of all these disasters, we're talking nearly $2 trillion. If you look at these numbers, they're staggering. You think that mitigating the effects of climate change would greatly outweigh the price tag that you are seeing on this map behind me.